Good morning or afternoon, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody, and good morning to the people who are just waking up.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, because you're here. Welcome to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing, where every week I try to bring my 20 years of plumbing and contracting experience to you to assist you on and give you tips, tricks, and help on any of your plumbing projects and if any home improvement projects that I can add to. Plus, along the way, I introduce you to some pretty decent local contractors and tidbits along the way that can help. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mrs. Megan Ozer.
I'm struggling over here.
I'm who, me?
My head, struggling, trying to get these on.
You know, we're recuperating.
Am I pretty decent as well, Steve?
You're awesome. You're
Thank
awesome.
You. Happy Monday.
Well, you know, you bring levity.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yes, a little levity.
Right.
I'm sorry, not levitivity, a little levity to the show. Levitivity means you're rising. So
thank you.
At least I think so. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via text at 708-964-5500. And today's show is brought to you by RJ Graham Plumbing and Ferguson Supply in Tinley Park. On today's show, we have joining us Mr. Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. Say hi to Shawn.
Hi, Shawn.
Hello.
Okay.
Second.
All right, let's try this again, Shawn. Your mic's on.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Oh, there it is. There we go.
There you go.
There's Shawn.
See, apparently we've got to turn your mic on for you to respond. So Shawn is with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. Where are you located out of, Shawn?
Frankfort, Illinois.
Okay, you were on the show before, and I was just saying I had to apologize because you were on at the same time we had Miss Jana, who owns Jana's Candy in Aurora, and nobody's competing with Candy. No one. So it's like I felt really bad. I'm like, I got Shawn out here, and he's coming on with the Candy lady, and he's there talking about all the things he does, his company, and how great it is, and everyone's hearing blah, blah, blah. Where's the candy?
Great planning, Steve.
You know what?
Really good job.
I thought, it would be kind of great to have Shawn on there, haven't had him on in a while, and then have, talk about candy and I feel bad, my friend. It was just, I deserve yeah.
Well, I'm back. That's okay.
Well, that's good to have you back.
Shawn deserves his own.
So tell us a little bit about Porterhouse Heating and Cooling.
We've been in business for like 14 years.
Okay.
Primarily residential, but we do commercial, and we now do duct cleaning as well. So
I want to talk to you about that.
Whole house duct cleaning. So from the supply and the return, we go from top to bottom through the walls where you can't see the stuff at. So we pretty much do it the right way.
Shawn said doo-doo. Did you hear it? We do. Sorry.
Oh, boy, that's where it's going this Monday. It just didn't take long. We're, a couple minutes into the show, and it already just, we went with potty humor.
Shawn, I'm basically a 12-year-old.
No,
so.
that bothers
me.
I'm okay.
We went with a little potty humor here. So now you're licensed and insured.
Yes.
What type of licensing is required and insurance is required for an HVAC company?
Okay, the way it works, in the state of Illinois, you don't have a state test. Like plumbers and electricians, they have a state test.
Okay.
So I went to ETI, which is a HVAC school, and have a certificate that I graduated with. And I'm licensed, bonded, and insured in the whole state of Illinois through State Farm.
Okay.
So State Farm has like the licensing part of it, like the bonding, or if something happens, we are insured over, I think, like $2 million or something like that.
Okay.
But there's no state test. So can anybody do it? Yes and no, because you're not supposed to be if you don't carry some of the licenses that's required to do a lot of jobs, because you're dealing with gas.
Right.
And stuff like that. So you're not supposed to really be buying it or doing stuff, but they'll let a homeowner do some of the stuff like an igniter and different things. So like in a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of towns, so you have to get your licensing through that town to work in that town.
Right.
It's what they require for us to do. So I can pull those permits and get the necessary things to do the jobs, whereas somebody that's just doing it may not be able to get the permits and stuff because they don't have the license part of it through State Farm.
Okay, basically if someone's doing it on the side, they're not going to be able to have the necessary credentials to pull the permits that the municipalities are going to require. Yep. Now, with plumbers, obviously we're individually licensed and the company is licensed. With an HVAC company, like you're saying, to get registered, you have to give them the information they need for your company, and obviously give the insurance information. So basically, you're still providing the accountability, the responsibility, and liability.
Yep.
So you know what I mean. So it's all those things that are required that a homeowner wants. I want somebody that's accountable. I want someone who's responsible, and I want someone who's liable, and all that stuff being put in place to be able to pull the permits and to be able to work in the home is crucial because it's a protection that they need, and they have somebody to reach out to or go to in case there's an issue.
Right. If something goes wrong. Right.
It's not somebody that basically gives them a taillight warranty. And the warranty's good as long as you can see the taillights. Now, we were talking off the air before we, and about some of the services that you do. And one of them that you started doing was duct cleaning. And when you talk about that, I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing it. There's one person specifically that I know that's on there. He has a company that does duct and dryer vet. That's all he does. And he advertises a lot, and he advertises his name, his company, and so forth. And there's also a lot of, I see other HVAC companies doing that, and I now see that you're doing that. What does duct cleaning entail? And
why is it important?
Right. That's pretty much that.
Well, the duct cleaning, there's different people that do it different ways. So the first question, what does it entail? I would say to properly do it, you need a machine or some power source of compressed air. And then you need a separate machine that puts the system into a negative pressure in order to truly clean it from top to bottom. So you need to be able to blow the air through the ducts, through the vents, not just going 5 feet in, but able to go all the way in through the walls to blow all of the trash back down to its lowest point. And then you need to be able to have a machine to put it in a negative pressure and suck the trash back towards you while you're blowing the air towards the negative pressure of the other machine. So that's kind of like the way you want to do it right. You want to do that on the supply and the return, both. So you can just vacuum somewhat in and get some of it. But if you want a whole house cleaning, that would be the proper way to do it.
I'm going to ask a stupid question.
There you go, because I know for the layman you're going to ask what is...
So what I heard there is you blow air down one end and you suck it out the other?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by negative?
Yes.
So could I essentially take a leaf blower and then at the other end have my Dyson? No.
Yes, but I don't know if you'll have enough pressure. But yes, that's the process.
Got it.
That is definitely the
You're
process.
Like negative pressure. I'm all these numbers in my head. I'm doing equations.
That's exactly how
vacuum.
it works, though.
Okay.
Well, basically, it's you're using air to push to churn up the debris, and you're using the negative pressure, which would be the vacuum, to suck the debris out. Yep. So one agitates, one gets.
I get it. It all makes sense.
It's kind of like a vacuum. The bristles agitate and loosen up the debris, and the vacuum and the suction sucks it up.
And on the end of the pressure that we're using to blow the air down, because some ductwork is sensitive and some is not. So you may have metal pipe, you may have flex duct. So there's different ends that we can put on there as well. Like we can put soft brushes on the end while the air is blowing. There's a brush in there that's actually cleaning it as well. So we have different attachments for different applications.
What would you say is the benefit of doing that, or what could possibly happen if you don't clean out your ductwork?
Okay, the benefit of it is there's so much just stuff attached to the dust that sticks to the walls of the ductwork. So it's a huge benefit because you're breathing that every time you turn the heat and the air on. So that stuff can accumulate. You'd be surprised what we find in there, like mice, because you don't know it's in there and it passed away inside of there. You didn't know that. And then, so there's stuff you'd be surprised what you find in there, and you're breathing that every day. So we found so much different stuff inside of the vents. And that's a really good benefit of getting it out of there, just getting that out of there so you're not breathing that. And then we can also go behind that and sterilize the whole system after the fact as well. So I think you asked 2 questions, but that was a really good benefit. If it's an older house, especially a lot of older homes, if it's never been done, you may want to have it done, especially if you're not the first person that lives there, because I think our skin sheds all day, every day or something, and that's going in there for sure. So,
I'll walk by my registers, on the wall, and I'll see just all of the, weekly dust and inches of dust and crap stuck to it.
If you have dogs, if you have or pets.
And it all is just going and
builds up. Oh, especially with pets.
Yeah,
that stuff is in there. It's in there. So, and whatever they bring in with them. So
actually, why don't you do this? This will kind of pretty much put it in perspective. Is when you look at explain how the system works as far as a forced air system with you said you got the ducts and then you've got the return, how all that works, because that'll give you an idea of how that system is accumulating that dust. Because if you're dusting in your house and you see how it builds up on your furniture and on your TVs, wherever, that is being pulled in through the house and it's being blown out through the house. So whatever's being brought in from the pets and so forth is being, just thrown around the house.
Okay, so what is collecting on the air filter, the filters that you should change monthly?
Yeah, same stuff, the dust and everything, and there's a lot of stuff in the air. So there's a lot of stuff in your air that you're breathing as well. So the same stuff is collecting on the filter, but if stuff gets past it, it'll get through the filter, past the filter. So it's the same stuff, and over time, you're not going to catch every single thing. So over time, it just builds up. This happens over time.
Ugh.
In case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I'm your host, Plumber Steve, co-host Megan Ozer, and joining us today is Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. And we were just going over just a little bit about Porterhouse Heating and Cooling, and we were also going over the duct cleaning, the importance of it, and so forth. And we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have our helpful homeowner tip. And then we are going to discuss a little bit more on duct.
It's time for Homeowner Hacks. You've got questions, we've got answers. It's real-life homeowner situations with solutions. From Steve Suarez at RJ Graham Plumbing.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's homeowner hack is, this week it's more like a tip. When researching and hiring companies, one helpful way to sift through information is to know the difference between one important thing. And that thing is years in business versus years in the business. Huge difference between the two. Years in business is how long a company's been around servicing the community. That's verifiable. That's something you can check, you can look into, and you can find solid information on. Years in the business is basically someone telling you how long they've worked in a specific field. While this experience may be beneficial, it can be inflated or embellished, and you can't verify, and it cannot be verified, as this is an individual, not a company. As a homeowner, you want to stick to what you can verify and confirm and check out. This will be most beneficial to you when hiring a qualified company. So when looking for, you have any questions on that?
No, that was...
Anything on that, Shawn?
I would add, we talking about what's important, homeowner hack.
No, basically on if you had to, when people are searching for a company, when they're searching to find a reputable person, there's a lot of people that are wannabes that say, hey, I do this, and there's other people that are verifiable that say, I have a company, I've been in business X amount of years, I could check this out, I could see this, I can do that.
I'd say different reviews. You can get different reviews from different sites. Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, Google. Once you get about those main three, you can kind of gauge what's going on, because a lot of people post in different places, so it's not like these customers know each other. So you could kind of see what the different people are saying from different. Those are the main three to me to check when you're trying to check for a reputable company.
So check out a company, and anybody who's saying what they can do as an individual, kind of avoid. And that's kind of what we were talking about here. So good to know when. It's good to know something to look at and something to definitely check out. So this week's homeowner hack and tip is brought to you by RJ Graham Plumbing. And we're going to take a quick break here on the Prepare to Repair show. And when we come back, we're going to go back to discussing a little bit about
Joel.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing. And joining me, or back with me, is Megan Ozer, the homeowner's voice of reason here. And joining us on today's show is Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. And before the break in the homeowner tip that we had, we were talking about a duct cleaning, and I wanted to kind of round that out with, or finish it up with a couple questions. One of them was the process. Now, the way you were discussing that process, it seems complicated. It seems like it's something that is, is that something that homeowners are going to be just intimidated by? Is it something that's an intricate process, or is it something that's relatively straightforward that can be done in about, a day or so?
It's pretty much straightforward.
It sounded straightforward to me.
Yeah.
It can be done in typically 3 to 6 hours, just depending on how big the house is and if you have 1 or 2 furnaces. So if you got 2 furnaces, it could take 6-7 hours. If you got, 1 furnace, a smaller house, less time.
And the benefits of this is overall you're breathing that in if it's in your, and then I wanted to know more about the dryer vents and the importance of that. I know that could start fires. That's that freaks me out all the time. My little hack, I don't know if it's even if I'm even qualified to give a hack, considering I'm just a housewife. But like if I take, you take the vents out of the, I don't even know what I'm saying, out of the dryer thingy, and all the lint is stuck to it. And I'm like weird about cleaning it. I clean it every time. But when I take it out and then I clean that off, if I look down in there, there's stuff in there. So I'll take like I have a long brush, and I put it down in there, and I can pull out a whole ton of crap.
Yeah.
Well,
so if I'm not getting that, where is that going, and what could that do essentially?
With a dryer, I've had it happen. So my dryer wasn't drying because it was so clogged between there and the flex tube that goes outside of the home.
Right.
So my dryer wasn't drying, and it'll make it overheat. So just like with a furnace, it'll overheat. So that's really important, and it is flammable, but you want to just try to keep it clean. And cleaning, most people, I don't know, but I know we never really cleaned that part. And I know what you're talking about. I can't see that lint there. That's a good idea to get that out of there, because over time it just builds up and it gets stuck and harder to remove. So
it's gross. I'll take enough out. It looks like a small animal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then I want to touch on one thing. Like you said, do not discount what you as a housewife or somebody being home or working from home or whatever know regarding your house. Because
I just don't want to say, hey, do this when it should be done by a professional.
No, but the fact that you are on the right track with that cleaning and doing something, you're on the right track. Now, are you getting it as thorough, and maybe, is there somebody else that is probably able to get it more thorough on it? Then probably.
Right.
But your information that you provide to us as service providers coming into your home is invaluable, because we're not in the house when all this stuff is happening. We don't know the symptoms.
Yeah.
And you're giving that information.
Yeah, well, you said the not drying. I've heard horror stories of fires, but I have a friend who moved into an apartment. She was younger, and she had like the top and bottom washer and dryer. And after a couple years, this is funny. After a couple years, she noticed her clothes weren't drying. And at that point, she started dating a boyfriend, and he came in and he said, "Have you checked the dryer vent?" And she goes, "What's that?" She never cleaned out the dryer. He said it was like it was so thick,
and I can believe it. I've seen it that way.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I clean every single time. I pull out a whole time. Clean those every time, people. Every single time you dry your clothes, clean your dryer vent.
Yep.
Everything mechanical, anything that you use that's mechanical requires maintenance. Humans require maintenance. Everything that you use that moves requires maintenance, and the more maintenance you provide,
less problems.
The longer it will last. That's one thing that you can keep in mind is, do the maintenance. Maintenance is a lot cheaper than replacement.
Yes,
all across the board.
I agree to that.
Now, finishing up with the duct cleaning. There is something that I've seen a lot on social media, and I don't know if you've seen it too, Megan. There's a lot of people advertising for this now. This has become the most popular thing out there that people are advertising. But the weird thing about the advertising that they're doing is they're advertising all the good words or all the little catchwords that make you want to call them up, but they don't put any of their company name. They don't put any company information. There's not a phone number. The pictures that they have do not have any type of name or lettering on the truck. They have nothing. So my question is, from somebody who is doing this, what is the new, I guess, infatuation with this type of service that you have such ambiguity with it? And is this number going to a centralized number where just anybody's being called out? Is this a new, some kind of scam that people are doing? I don't know. From what you're saying, and we were discussing this is obviously a necessity. This is something that you want to have done because of overall, indoor air quality. So I guess the thing is what is the end game on this that you would think in your business?
Well,
all that to ask that question. What's the
end game? Wow.
It's
you know what, Megan?
For its importance of doing it.
Yeah, poor Shawn. He's like, what's the question?
What's the big, I guess what would be somebody's end game to give all that vague information? And is this something that easy? Because obviously you spent money for equipment, and it's costly to get into, but yet, you have companies out there, just all different names, all different fake profiles.
Oh, you're saying that a bunch of people are advertising to to do this type of work.
It's so vague and everything.
It may be a way just to get in the door.
Yeah,
that's what my thought would be.
Which is scary
to just get in, to sell you something else, or maybe that's not their high point, but maybe that's a way to get them in there to push something else on you, possibly.
Yeah, but there's no company information. There's no phone numbers. There's nothing.
It's just these jack of all trades people trying to.
But I guess what's the scam on it? And if you have to spend the amount of money needed to have this type of business or to do this correctly, then you obviously invested in it. What is the? I don't know. Unless they're just trying to get in there to. Again, take your money and not even come out or book a call.
Well, then that just goes back to the customer and, what you were talking about before and making sure that you're getting quality, make sure you know who you're working with.
I was just wondering why this is so popular. This seems like the one thing. Yeah.
Maybe you got some weird stuff on your socials.
Oh, no, they're in all different types of the local groups. If you look at them, look up the ones for duct cleaning. Yeah. There's actually another gentleman.
Have you been looking up things for duct cleaning? Because you could just be getting these specifically, because I honestly don't get anything for duct cleaning.
They're just on pages that I've seen, Mokina, Frankfurt, New Lenox.
I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't I wouldn't call them unless you got a name.
No.
And everything to go with it, and somewhere where I can verify some pictures or something, I wouldn't trust it.
No, I wouldn't either. I was just wondering why this specifically is the new thing. That's all. And I was just wondering if you had any information. Now that I said something, you're going to see it.
I know.
So,
I'm telling you, they're our phones. They listen. I think this. I think this is all in your.
No, actually,
I think you created.
Well, it's all over from because I'm in pages as far as like Evergreen Park, Oak Lawn, and they've had people posting out there too.
So it's people posting, not advertisements.
Well, it's people posting as human. They're but they're people, and they're advertising this thing.
It's really strange.
And then what they do is they answer on that same post.
Really?
All these little things. Hey, if you're the first so and so, we can do this, this, and this.
Yeah. No,
like I said, it's really I was just wondering what the popularity is with this particular type of work.
Sounds fishy.
Yeah, it is. Oh, believe me, 100%. I was just wondering what was the big infatuation with this now. That's all.
I don't think Shawn and I have any idea.
You'll see it now. Now I said something, you'll see it.
And now we're intrigued.
And people out there, if you know what I'm talking about, shoot us over a text, please, at 708-964-5500, so I don't seem like the only whack job who knows this.
No, you still seem that way.
Okay, thank you. You're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I'm your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing, and joining me is Megan.
It's Megan.
Megan. And the fabulous Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. And in case you're just joining us, we were just kind of wrapping up a conversation we had on duct cleaning. So we're going to move along to a couple of other things I wanted to ask you as we start wrapping up and finishing up the show. I would say, what are your popular products that when you're installing products out there and you're recommending units to your homeowners? What would be one that you're partial to, that you like? And
there's two things I like based on cleanliness and overall comfort. There's a few things. A humidifier, I like to push those, but not. I like to give people an understanding on how it works. I think those are important, and the UV lights, the good ones, the good UV lights, I think those are important because I did research on them, and once I put it in my fish tank, it really, you could tell the difference. So it's the UV lights and humidifiers that I like the most for your furnace. For
a UV light for your furnace?
Mm-hmm. You put it in, and they have some good ones that it kills a lot of the stuff you can't see. It even helps with smells and odors and stuff in your house.
It sounds like a bug zapper.
Yeah, I had no idea that you could.
But it doesn't zap. But it's something like that.
I remember being by one. I don't know if it was an older one. It sounds like, do you ever see the old bug zappers where they had the lights up there and the bugs would fly into it and it just would zap them?
Yes, Steve.
That's what it sounds like.
They have air filters that do that as well.
Yeah.
They make that zapping noise for your filter goes, because it's actually, I guess, zapping the dust.
Right.
But the UV light, it works differently than that, and they work together. And I would recommend a UV light, a good one. We use an air scrubber, and that's a good one.
A what?
It's called an air scrubber.
I'm sorry, a what?
Air. Did I say it wrong? Air scrubber, yeah. Yes, I meant air. So, an air scrubber. So, you need one of those and a humidifier.
You need one of those. All right.
We're going to have to switch to the PM if she's going to keep doing this, because this is a family show.
I am not the only one. I
might have tripped over my word a little bit.
I don't think so.
I think they just went together so fast.
Over her head.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wait, real quick on humidifiers. This is like a constant battle in my home. Okay, so our percentage or whatever of humidity in our house is supposed to be what? 35 to, I shouldn't even say words.
It depends on where you're reading at. 35 to 40% is what they say.
I was right. Okay.
Each home is kind of different, so you can gauge it to some degree. If it's too much humidity, your windows will start sweating. You're probably putting too much in the air. I really enjoy humidifiers based on the way
that's where I'm at. Okay, so I don't feel anything in my home off at all. Like, we have the whole house one connected. But when I sleep upstairs, I cannot breathe. Like, I'm just dry and congested. So I had suggested like a small humidifier for myself, maybe on my nightstand or in our room. And my husband's like, no, we have the whole house one. And I'm like, couldn't I have a little personal one along with the whole house one?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt, because the further it travels, it loses some of its effectiveness.
Kevin, if you're listening, I want a personal nightstand humidifier.
And they have them where you can put right by your side, which wouldn't affect him if it's too much humidity. So upstairs, it's going to be less humidity because heat rises.
Right.
So the further up you go, so there'll be less. Right. And then it depends on the humidifier you have, where the percentage is. So if you have it in the basement, it's sensing the humidity down there, which is going to be different upstairs.
She's going to forget, leave it on all day. Her bedroom's going to be like a rainforest.
You know what?
I'm just saying.
Ask you.
So, what manufacturers do you use on your...
April Air.
Okay.
Is one I like. I like the Honeywell as well. You can even go as far as getting steam, but it requires a lot more maintenance.
Okay.
For steam, things get clogged up more, but it really delivers it differently. It's there.
Yeah.
So,
what about your furnaces and condensers that you...
My top two choices is American Standard and Rheem are my top two picks for furnaces and ACs, just based on the way they're built.
Okay. And where are they manufactured?
In Texas and Wisconsin, I believe, for Rheem. So here in this country, the American Standard and Rheem are made.
Nice. They're American made. Okay. That's good.
I like that.
Because at least if COVID taught us one thing, it's if you have stuff that's made here, you have a better chance of getting stuff here when you need it. Better shot. So,
do you have any tips on how to keep your electric bill down in the summer?
Change the filter.
Oh,
clean outside as
just
well.
change your filter.
And
don't open the windows.
That unit outside, keep it clean too.
Yeah. How do you
works
suggest
harder.
cleaning that as a homeowner?
As a homeowner, gently rinse it with a water hose. I had a guy power wash a unit that we installed.
Sounds bad.
Yeah, and he literally wanted us to give him a new unit after he power washed it, so all of the fins were closed.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, it was like shiny when you went up to
Yeah.
it.
Oh, he dented all of them, huh?
Yeah, he pushed. They were flat.
Oh my god!
So,
Wow.
and he literally wanted us to be liable for that.
Note
so
to self.
I would say use a water hose because it'll keep down on how hard that machine works. Blower motor as well. Change the filter because any of those machines that work harder, they're going to use more electricity to stay running.
There you go.
I'm a big fan of. Here's a question, and this is something stupid that I would do.
There's no
just
stupid
if like
questions.
debris were to get into it and things of that nature. Could I take a leaf blower and just blow off the dust and
I'd be
stuff?
careful with that.
Yeah, she's got this
I really
leaf
love
blower
the
thing.
leaf blower. I do.
I'd be
Is
careful.
it gas or electric?
Electric.
Okay,
We have an electric
just checking.
one.
Just because you don't want to damage it. I don't know how much force that leaf blower has.
We don't have not much. I blow out dust under my couch with
Well,
it.
start back further, just to make sure you don't mess it
She's
up.
going to
Right.
mug a landscaper and grab
My
one of those
husband's probably
backpack
laughing,
ones.
so I'm not going to do
Definitely
this.
you don't want that. That one's strong.
She'll be levitating.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't use that.
We don't want that.
She'll blow the furniture out the window.
Note to
I've seen
self.
those.
The whole house would be clean, literally. You won't have a speck of dust in the living room. There'd be no furniture either. But
Yeah.
hey, you know what?
Or children.
She used exactly. They're all gone up in the
Give me
tree.
any ideas?
Hey, you know what? I'm just inspiring.
Oh,
this
is that
point.
what you're doing?
I'm not giving you any ideas. I'm inspiring.
I'm so inspired.
But the one thing, if you know the common denominator with longevity and overall saving of money really leads back to maintenance. It leads back to taking care of things.
Yeah.
Things run a lot, more efficiently. And,
Yes.
And it really saves you, like I said, a lot more time in having everything dialed in correctly. Because, if you're not running as a person, if you're not running efficiently, you're not going to be your best. You're not going to have optimum performance.
Yes.
If your car is not running properly, it's going to burn more gas. Same thing with everything that you have. If your toilets in your house are not running right, you're going to use more water. Your water heater, everything. So you want to make sure that everything is operating right and getting the right people that know what they're doing that are going to come in and get it dialed in is priceless. It's going to save you a boatload of money in just overall in the long run. I mean, it's unbelievable. And a lot of people, it's out of sight, out of mind. But the more you're on this, the more money you'll save.
Yep.
I mean, that you want to be green? That's probably one of the greenest thing you can do.
Get yourself a plumber and HVAC guy,
Yes.
electrician.
You're listening to
speed dial.
the Prepare to Repair show
Don't look
here.
at me like that.
I'm your host, Plumber Steve. And in case you're just tuning in, Megan's here for the
Scaring me.
last time. And we've got Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling, who's phenomenal. Meg, not so much.
Oh, wow.
You're making fun of me, and it really hurts my feelings.
I said everybody should have their person.
I'm sensitive. You keep looking at me, and you've been making fun of me since we got here.
You're giving me dirty looks like I've said something bad.
I'm sensitive. You know that.
My God.
So, but but really, what you're saying is getting quality people, and it just saves you a ton more. It saves you a ton of money. Mm-hmm. And the greenest thing you could do is save the stuff you have. Keep it operating.
Yes.
The less you have to buy, the less you're contributing to more stuff being manufactured and having to get rid of and throw away stuff sooner than you have to.
It'll last longer.
And don't call those people on Facebook that Steve keeps talking about that nobody knows at all.
It's a cult. They're trying to drag me in.
It's only you.
The duct cleaning cult. So I would say, just as we round out everything, so we already talked about maintenance recommendations and the unit replacements. I guess that's one thing that people get afraid of. I think that is when they call an HVAC guy, or even when they call a plumber or whatever, and other contractors, they're afraid of being sold things that they don't need. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it a lot with HVAC guys, and I'm going to ask you because you're here. A lot of people think when I call an HVAC guy for a service or repair, they're going to try and sell me on a new unit. They're going to try and sell me on a new unit. And the good ones, I know it's not the case. But I think a lot of people, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, a lot of people, really don't put in perspective the cost of repair versus the cost of replacement because it gets so far gone.
A lot of times, that's the biggest thing, too. When we go in the door a lot of times, that's the first thing on their mind that we want to just sell them a new unit. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's so beneficial to them to buy a new unit. So, of course, we need to offer it and tell you about it. There's a lot of times you don't need a new unit either, though. But for us, when we go in, we get that a lot. The customer we're trying to tell them the right thing to do. And so what we do, we just give them the facts and let them decide.
You're honest. It's honesty. Yes. So, it's the best thing.
And let them say, okay, we thought, because I'll say this, that we, in defense of other contractors as well, we may try to tell the homeowner their best bet. And sometimes, not that we're looking forward to it, but they won't replace it. And if they trust us and like us, they'll just have us keep coming back and repairing it. Mm-hmm. And then over time, they'll find that you have spent the money twice.
Yep.
Because some of the major components that have not went out, when we see things have been abused, yes, it's working today. And then what happens is while we try to push that sometimes that you should replace it is because I may be at your house today for a gas valve and then 2 weeks later for the blower motor, and some customers say, well, didn't you know it was going to go out? No, it was working when I was here. We checked it. It was fine, but it had been under stress.
You're just putting a Band-Aid over it each time.
A lot of times, and I think that's that trust factor thing as well. They may think like he's just trying to sell it. No, we're trying to do it right, leave, be done. So because you don't want to see me again. Not that you may dislike me, but you don't want me back over here because if I am, I'm fixing something. So we let them definitely decide, but we want to give them the facts, put it in writing, and say we did offer this to you.
I think if my AC was out, I don't care what you said. If you came into my house, I'd be like, just fix it.
See, that's good
Lord.
And bad. See,
I'm being a little.
Because what I mean is you get people that are, so they got kids in the house, they got whatever, or they say they got elderly relatives living out. They need to have that AC fixed. They need somebody that they can trust. That's
all goes back to doing your research and getting somebody you trust. Yeah.
But the fear is, I think a lot of fear comes from the not understanding or doing the research. Understanding that, okay, the product, whether it's a furnace, a water heater, or what have you, is X amount of years old. Mm-hmm. There's no warranty. There's nothing else on this. So all the parts you're replacing now are on a unit that is, say, 10, 15, 20 years old. So every dollar you spend is trying to keep this going, whereas I can't guarantee by putting these parts in that this is going to continue operating. If it does, you've saved yourself money and you're looking good. But if it doesn't, again, you could end up placing a gas valve. Now I got a blower motor, and then at that point you're already into it, so you might as well replace some other stuff on it and continue going, and you almost have a new unit at that point.
Right, all new parts.
Where if you look at the cost effectiveness of it, whereas, okay, where am I at with this now? If I get a new unit, I get a new unit with with a whole new warranty, and I know 100% that this is going to be solid for this, and I won't have to pay.
And at least because it is man-made, so at least if you do have a problem, you got a warranty.
Right.
And the parts, typically we offer a nice warranty, so that means we can go back and get the stuff for free. No cost to the customer. First 10 years and 5 years. So I think it's just a benefit for both parties, though. Because nobody, it's that call that we'll get to say you were just here. Yes, we were just here.
Right.
And when we go back out and and the customer say it's doing the same thing it was doing before. Of course, because it takes other parts to make it run. So it may be doing the same thing, but now something else is broke. And and I get it. You're mad, you're frustrated, you're cold or hot or whatever the case may be. But we can't make you do something, and we can only advise it and put it in writing, which helps a lot because people forget.
Right.
They may say, well, you didn't tell me that. And then sometimes we can remind them and they remember. And then they're more reluctant to be like, you know what, just get rid of this unit. You did tell me, and I don't want to buy. And especially if it's 2 weeks later and it's cold, now they're afraid it's going to break again. And, so.
It's like when you have to, when you're deciding whether or not you want to get a new car or just keep fixing the old one,
Right. Yep. Well, I mean, sometimes you have to.
Thing.
In case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Prepare to Repair here. And our guest on today's show is Mr. Shawn Porter with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. And we were discussing the benefits of cost versus repair versus replaced. And I guess, in some instances, at least we've run into it where a water heater was so old that, we want you to replace this or we want you to repair this. It's like, okay, you're going to spend X amount of dollars, which is almost the cost of a new water heater with the parts and labor, than it is to spend a few extra dollars for the water heater and labor to get a new one with a warranty on it, and then you're covered for the 6 years minimum. It's just it's dollar for dollar spending the right money, and that is, I guess, what every good contractor should be doing, is advising the best bang for the buck to homeowners out there.
Because when that thing gives away that water heater and you were just there, now there's water everywhere. I've seen that, and you were just there, now there's water, and they're screaming over. I have a voicemail like that.
Yeah. Well, we've had, people don't realize, like you said, and I've had, we install tankless water heaters, and every gas-fired appliance has a systems check that it does with every time it fires up. So, like a tankless water heater, it's gonna search to make sure it can breathe, which is it's going to exhaust. It's going to pull air and it's going to exhale with the exhaust. It's going to test the gas valve, test for fuel. It's going to test for spark. It's going to go through all that series of tests. And if it can't do it, it's going to shut down. I'm not a furnace guy, but I've watched my furnace go through everything.
Same thing.
And I watch for the gas valve to open up. You can hear it click. I watch for my igniter to go. And then you can kind of go through those steps.
Same steps with that.
Exactly.
I like those tankless. You like them?
Yeah, big fan of them. Yes, they're a bit sophisticated and complicated to.
Yes.
A lot of people don't really work on them.
They're bougie,
but
Steve.
I mean, well, no, they're just, when you take it off, it looks like you took off the side panel of a tower computer. I mean, you see little tubes.
Get sophisticated. Yes, I've learned about them from messing with them.
Oh yeah, they're. I've got.
What brand you like?
Navian. Yeah, I went to. I got a chance to go to California, Santa Clara, California, to go to their facility and do some training with them, level 3 and 4 training with them. It was a great time. It was like just learned a lot and got specialized training to be able to service them and diagnose them.
I messed with those before. And had to get someone, because it's so similar to a furnace. I had to get some help for like a week almost until because some of those can get. But I learned a lot. Get technical support on the phone.
Oh yeah,
learned a lot. This was about 10 years ago. So I know they've changed.
They've changed a lot.
So, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of them, but they've changed. I know this lady has one. We went to fix her furnace. It's like on hand, on demand, hot water, right? It's right there.
It works. I mean, it's right there when you turn on the tap, turns on, turn off, turns off.
No idea what
Saves
anything
gas.
you're talking about.
Well, we'll discuss that on another show. It's pretty awesome. I want to thank you, Shawn, for being on the show. And if people want to reach out to Porterhouse Heating and Cooling, how do they get in touch with you?
You can call us 24 hours a day at 708-362-1692. And our website is Porterhouse, just like the steak, PorterhouseHeatingAC.com.
Awesome.
Nice.
I appreciate you coming on, my friend. It's been a long time since I had you on the show, and it's good to finally have you in person in the studio.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, including my co-host
Megan.
Meg.
Thank you.
You're awesome. We'll be back next week with our guest Mac Tracy with Ferguson Supply
And Megan.
Any questions for the show or guests? Shoot us a text at Prepare to Repair hotline at 708-964-5500. Or if you want to say hi to Meg, you can do that. Or on our Prepare to Repair Facebook page. You can always reach out to RJ Graham Plumbing for all your plumbing needs at 708-743-7426. And don't forget to head out to Ferguson Supply for all your kitchen, bath, and lighting needs. Your dream kitchen bathroom is as close as Tinley Park. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We will see you all next week.